Hi guys, Troublesome Keen here. I'm sort of allergic to making videos nowadays, but this is me trying. I've tried a number of times already to start these videos, but haven't had too much success at all. But I just was running a bit long, talking too much, and just like it sort of is going right now. But anyway, I'm gonna try and do this as quick as I can. You don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time. So you've got an idea in place. You've done a little bit of work with some bitmaps. You've maybe made a few creatures. You want to make your own Keen game. That is Keen Galaxy. And what I'm going to be trying to do in these videos is give you new modders a sort of a jump start and make things go a little bit faster, because here Ceilick's Keen Galaxy modding tutorial, everything I know about modding pretty much came from this tutorial. Very well written, but it's huge, really big, and it can be quite daunting and quite a task to get through it all. So hopefully these videos will I don't know, help you make learn it faster, because some people, myself included, learn better by videos than written tutorials. So I'm going to be following this tutorial. I have some links in the description bar so you can follow along too. But basically I'm following this, and you can follow me. So the first thing we need to do is download the tools that lets us edit Commander Keen. And we need folders to put these into. So just as the tutorial says to do, we're going to create we're going to be creating some folders here. So let me delete this and we'll start from scratch. So here's my desktop. I have some crazy icons on here, but we right click the desktop, go to new and new folder, and I'm going to name mine Keen Modding. Actually that says modding, but I already have a folder that's called Keen Modding, and obviously two folders can't be named the same thing. But for my purposes, the folder that all my Keen stuff is going into is going to be inside this folder. We open it up. We're going to be creating a new folder, and this one is going to be called Tools, where we're going to download and put all of our tools inside this folder. And next we're going to make a folder called Keen4Mod. Now, as Ceilick's tutorial states, if you wish to mod episode 5 or 6, you should be able to follow along. It runs pretty much the same way as Keen 4 does. But just like this written tutorial, I'm going to be using Keen 4 as the primary example. So if you wanted to mod Keen 5 or 6, obviously you might change the number there to 5 or 6. Just work with the coinciding episode. Name it the proper name. So we have our folder set up, and here in this section is the tool downloads, and we're going to need to download all of these tools. Start with the first one at the top of the list, ModKeen. We hit the link and this window pops up, and since we want these files saved on our computer, we're always going to do save file, not open with. I have WinRAR installed on my computer. You may or may not need this program to unzip these zipped files. If you do need it, you can Google the WinRAR, and you can download a trial version, which lasts forever, as far as I know. Hasn't given me any trouble. It says it'll expire, but it really doesn't. That sort of thing. Okay. So that was a really quick download. these tools are pretty small, so it doesn't take up too much room. And what we're doing here, what we got to do now is I right-click this and open the containing folder, and that will open a folder to where all my downloads are automatically downloaded to. And here we have Mod Keen 2. It's our first tool here. And inside the tools folder, we want to make a new folder called Mod Keen. And we're going to move our download into this Mod Keen folder. Right click it, extract here. And that gives us the file. Okay. What's inside here? We'll worry about this later. Okay. So, next tool on the list is CK Patch. Certainly very important. We can't play mods without this file, that's for sure. Another quick download. Do the pretty much the same sort of way here. All we're doing is making subfolders inside our tools folder, CK Patch, naming it something that we can remember, and putting our downloaded file inside its proper folder. Alright. Let's see here. Download this. New folder. And we're going to name this... Whoops. I don't know if this has a pronunciation, but it's UNLZEXE. And this isn't a zipped folder, it's just an application. And I think this is used for 32-bit operating systems, because the next unexcel, whatever you want to call it, is the 64-bit version. Now, the operating systems that I work on for my Keen modding is 64-bit. So this is the file I'm using as opposed to this one. But I just downloaded that other one anyway, just for the heck of it, even though I won't be using that. If you're 32-bit, obviously you'll be using that. Now, the 64-bit opens this SourceForge, as you can see. The download starts in a few seconds, and that's also a quick download. I'm gonna name the folder pretty much exactly the same thing. I'm gonna put a 64 at the end of it, so that I can tell the difference. Whoops. Ay. Keep on opening up needless windows. Alright, here we are. I'll put that right into here and extract it. We don't need these anymore. I like to put those zipped files inside a backup folder in case I screw up with the extracted files. Alrighty. So it's it's just a matter of going through all of the tools, downloading them, and putting them in their respective folders. The next tool on the list is called CKD. That's Commander Keen. D is for Keen Dreams. Hopefully you've played that one. 456 TLI. And this tool lets us edit tile properties. And we'll get to that in a bit. In a few videos onward. Here is the application we'll be using. Other files. Stuff. Okay, next is keen screen, I think. I think that's what it's called. We'll make a new folder for that in here. Keen screen. Alright. So we're off to a good start. All of our tool folder is certainly filling up. Filling up pretty much. Pretty big. Keen wave. I think this is a tool that allows us to edit. Whoops, what did I do? Forgot to start the download. To edit sound effects and music, background music that's played in Galaxy games. And that's called Keen Wave. I'm going to drag Keen Wave into the folder, right click and extract it. Woo! That extracted a good chunk here. We've got a lot of folders inside here. We'll go through them when the time comes. Next is start text. I love this. The start text here. You can edit the loading screen. I think that's what it's used for. I'm already forgetting. But also the screen afterwards when you exit the exit Commander Keen and you get that advertisement sort of star text advertisement window. I think it also edits the Star Wars text. Extract here. The Star Wars text that scrolls in the introduction of all the Keen games. IMF Creator. If we want to do custom music, we'll certainly need that, because the sound files that Keen uses is called IMFs. I can't exactly remember what that stands for, but I believe it's id. I'm not even going to try. Never mind. But that's the program for that. Also the WDC. And this is also going to be something that has to do with sound. WDC. Alrighty. So far, the Keen editing process is just a matter of downloading the tools, putting them in their proper folders. Of course, after you've downloaded them, you need to find out where they're downloaded to on your computer. Okay, so that was the last one on the list. Now, this exe here, this file here, if you are using the 64-bit version of this program, you're going to need this one. Since I am running 64-bit, I will definitely need this. And since it goes hand in hand with that 64-bit thing, I like to call it the error helper, because if you don't have this file, you're going to get some errors. And I can't. There's so many tools now that I don't know. Error helper just helps me remember. Oh, I have to put the error helper in there with the with my Keen modding folder. All right. Now we've got all our tools. What we need next is a level editor, and that's where some of the fun begins. There's a few ones listed here. TED, the transceiver here, Keen Next, the Omega-Matic. As far as I know, all of them work. Some are better than others, even though I've only tried one, and that is the Omega-Matic, which is the one recommended by Ceilick in this tutorial. So I'm not going to download these three. I'm just going to go straight to the Omega-Matic. It's really the only one I know how to use. And Ceilick covers a bit how to use the Omega-Matic in this tutorial later on. So back in our tools folder, we'll make just one more, and we'll name it Big Tom there. Okay, now we get our download, and we're gonna drag our download of Tom right in there, extract here, and we've got our level editor with a bunch of bitmaps. These are the foreground and background tile sets. That's pretty exciting. I'll show you what the I don't know. You've probably seen this already, but if you haven't, these are the background tiles for Commander Keen. Keen 4, Secret of the Oracle. And basically we just take these squares. You can't see how they're divided into to little tiles, but we just take these and put them in our level and build it that way. But we'll get to that later on. Get to a lot of stuff later on. Alright, last thing, well, certainly not the last thing, but next is the drawing tools. And as he says here, one of the simplest tools for modifying Keen graphics is MS Paint. However, only the old MS Paint found on versions of Windows prior to 7 will edit images correctly. In my experience, that's certainly true. I've done a bit of Keen editing on Windows 7, and I've tried to edit some of Keen bitmaps in the in Windows 7 Paint, and it did not work at all. The colors were wrong. It imported crazy. A lot of different colors. It was just a mess. So we do have an option if you're working on Windows 7. This old MS Paint link is here, and we'll check that out in a second. But I have to say one thing before we do. You can work on Windows 7. It works great for me, except for editing those bitmaps. As far as everything else other than that, Windows 7 works fine with all of this editing going on, Keen modding. The version of Windows I'm using right now is Windows Vista, and it really does work great for me, especially with the version of Paint that Windows Vista has. Certainly much better than Windows XP. The thing I like most about this is its zoom tool. Since we're going to be working with such small bitmaps for Commander Keen, editing those really small files, I like a good zoom tool. Also, a really important tool is the eraser. I'm going to go through some tricks. I don't know if you could call them tricks, but maybe just some basic tips to help editing go a little bit faster. But I like this version a lot. I have no idea. It says version 6.0. I don't know if that helps at all. But checking out this link here takes us to actually, what does this say? DeviantArt. Yeah, I've known this site here. It gives a preview of the old Paint. And if you've got nothing else, no other editing tool that edits bitmaps, this is probably your best bet. Let me see if I can find the download link for this. I think it's right here. Download file. Yep, I believe that's it. This is the, it looks like the XP version. And like I said, I don't like the XP version nearly as much as the Windows Vista. So if you can find a Windows Vista anywhere, I recommend trying to see if you can find a Windows Vista version of Paint. I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere down here. A lot of links in the comments. You can go through that on your own time. But we're moving on. Other modders use programs like GIMP and Photoshop. If you have those programs, that's great. I actually have Photoshop on my Windows 7 computer, but I don't know how to use it yet. Haven't really tried. I'd have to have a video tutorial, whole series for that to learn how to use that program. But I've been dabbling around in a bit of After Effects. But anyway, that's entirely off topic. Now, let's get the rest of the setting up files and folders. Let's get it done. What is next here? Oh yes, now we copy the following files into our Keen4 mod folder. Now, here on our Keen modding on our desktop, of course, we've set up Keen4 mod, which is empty right now, and our tools. Now, whenever we move tools, well, we're not actually going to move them, we're going to copy them. And you always want to copy. Don't cut it or move it, because these folders will always give us a place where we can always find our tools that are there. You know, you never want to drag this whole application, this tool here out of this folder. You always want to make a copy of it. So as Ceilick's tutorial states here, we need modkeen copied. I'm going to right click this and hit copy right down here. And then we're going to go inside our Keen4 mod and hit paste. And that is going to paste it right into there. Next tool on the list is the Unzexcel. Ooh, I named that bad. I put a V instead of an X. Not that it matters, but I'm 64-bit, so I'm going to copy this. Whoops. Right click on an empty space here and paste that. Let's see, what's next? the Chromatic Keen patch. Now, if you're modding Keen 5, let's see, where is it? Where's the patch? Obviously, you would take the corresponding, that's the word, corresponding patch for the episode that you're modding. Now, I'm doing CK4, Chromatic Keen 4. So that's the one that's going inside my modding folder. Oops. Alright, so we have our 3 files in here. Now it says once these files are in place, which they are, we have to unexcel your Keen4 exe by dragging and dropping onto the unexcel. Okay. So obviously the last thing that needs to go inside this our modding folder for Keen4 is the game itself. And I have that on my computer already. And hopefully you can find, if you don't have it already, you can find a legal download for it. A legal download, mind you. And copy the necessary folders, necessary files inside this folder. So I've just copied the entire game. Well, let's see here. Copy. paste. Okay, so I have the entire game inside our folder now, and it's a unmodded, clean version of Commander Keen 4. Except this. That's a file I made. Has G codes in it and whatnot. The audio, config, dopefish, EGA graph, game maps, the application, order, and the vendor. And the NXL, ModKeen, and CK4 patch. Obviously the tools we've added inside this folder, along with the game files. And okay, some of these files are not needed. We can just delete them right off the bat. Files such as order and vendor, and I think dopefish is not necessary or is not helpful in the modding process in any way, and we can just delete those. But I'm kind of scared of deleting them, even though it's perfectly alright. Just because they were files in the game, and I don't want to mess with anything. I don't want to break anything. Remember, mistakes will happen, so you always have to have backups. Make copies of all the files that you're going to make changes to. Alright, so we have to unexex our Keen 4, and this is how we do it. We're going to click and hold, we're going to drag this Keen 4E into the unexe here, and a window will flash up. Maybe you saw that. I don't know if my video picked it up, but it's gonna make this file here, and that's exactly what we want. Now we're going to delete this, the game application, because we're going to rename this. You know how it said exe new, and we're just going to erase the new and keep the exe. Hit enter. You might get this window pop up, the rename window. If you change the file name extension, the file may become unusable. I'm sure you want to change it. We certainly are sure. And now we have just replaced the game application, the exe, the executable. I don't know. I probably am using a whole bunch of wrong terminology, and I've probably called files folders and folders files, and but I hope you can follow along with me, because I often do get a lot of words mixed up. But here we have it. We successfully unexec'd the executable here, just like the tutorial said. Alrighty. Now, what next? Now we have to extract the graphics, and we're going to right click in a open space and create a new folder inside here, and we're going to name it graphics, and we're going to extract the graphics out of the game, edit them, import them back into the game. So this is the folder of where all our graphics is going to go. And to do that, this is where ModKeen comes in. And we're going to be using ModKeen a ton. Every time we make a little change in the graphics and we want to see it in the game, we got to run ModKeen again. And I've run it a billion times already. As you know, one thing we need, one other tool, or if you will, that we need, is DOSBox. And I believe DOSBox 0.74 is the latest and most current version of DOSBox. And I have that installed on my computer. I'm sure you probably do. It's the only way I know of playing Commander Keen on these newer Windows computers. Thank heavens for DOSBox. It creates that old game environment on the computer so that these old games that wouldn't normally run on these computers can run. They have this emulator to run on. And the tutorial says to use command prompt. We also, as it states, have the option of using DOSBox. And I've been having some trouble with the command prompt to use these codes. So luckily we can use DOSBox for these purposes. And so let's do that right now. Let's we have ModKeen inside this folder, and we're going to click and drag it onto my DOSBox shortcut. And what that does is it opens up DOSBox, and we get this, the error. And we need to get this file here. It tells us what we need. And if you remember, because I didn't remember, of course, we're forgetting something. And what do you know? It's the old error helper. So we need to copy this inside our keen4mod folder. Paste. And this thing helps ModKeen get off the ground. Okay, so now we have the file, the error helper inside here with us. We do that same procedure. Opens up DOSBox. It gives us this whole schmeal here. It gives us ModKeen. I think the most current version is 2.01. At least that's the version that is supplied on the tutorial. By Andrew Durden. This guy is awesome. Without him, I don't know. You probably couldn't be able to mod Commander Keen. So a big thanks to him. Anyway, we have all these sort of commands we can do here. The only one only going to be doing about 2 codes, I think, and you'll see them in the tutorial here. We have to type in this ModKeen -episode = 4 or 5 or 6, whichever one you're modding, -export -bitmap directive = graphics. And remember, that's our folder that the graphics are going into. So ModKeen, the hyphen or dash, and episode = we're on 4, a space, another dash, and we're going to export, and space and a dash, and BMP directive dir = in quotation marks graphics. And if all goes well, hit enter. Excuse me. And it'll start doing its thing. It says here, cannot find EGA head.ck4, extracting EGA head data from the exe. It seems that it's running okay. I think it did its job. You can hit type exit here. Let's take a look inside our graphics folder. Yes, that looks to me very much like a successful extraction. Of course, you played Commander Keen before, and if you go hit F1 at the beginning of the game, you'll see this screen and the little hand that gives you the selection of which of these screens you want to go into. And we can all of this we can edit its appearance 100%. Everything inside here. We can edit all of these, import it back into the game, and it's like we've got a whole brand new game. Super exciting. The thing we have to be careful about, of course, is the size. Let's take, for instance, this file here. It's 32 by 32. And there are some restrictions of how small, how big, how wide, how tall these bitmaps can be. Otherwise, they won't import properly. We'll talk more about that later. But here we have it. We we got the graphics. We can go inside here and start messing around with things. But before you do, I might recommend making a copy of this folder and copying it to someplace else, because if we mess anything up in here too terribly, which is pretty hard, it doesn't happen. I mean, it never happened to me that I messed anything up so badly that nothing would ever work again. It's a pretty good deal. It's pretty stable. But just for safety's sake, it's best to make a copy of this right now, so that if we make some unwanted changes, or if anything breaks, we still have those files backed up. Alrighty, so that was intensely boring, but there's your first video. We'll get to editing graphics and text, building levels, all that good stuff in future videos. This has been Troublesome Keen. Thanks for watching. It's been a long video. It's been a long time since I wanted to make this, and I think it went pretty well. I might now post this to YouTube and then link it to any of you that wants a video to see how this is done. Nothing complicated, that's for sure. Nothing too terrible. I don't need to speak C++ or Python or any cool language to learn how to make this happen. Okay. Well, I'll see you later. Troublesome Keen out.